trajectory. It means we have no control on this trajectory until the last phase of the descent. We have had the separation very accurately performed by the TGO, so we are on a very specific entry angle to the planet, and that will drive the performance of the entry, descent, and landing. We're arriving at a huge velocity. We're arriving at 21,000 kilometers.
21,000, and it's important to
an
remember,
hour, yes.
this here we're seeing is an animation. It's not
Yeah,
obviously
it
live
is. It
pictures
is
from
an
Mars.
animation, and the reason is simply because we do not have another camera flying next to this spacecraft able to capture these facts in real time. So we will get the telemetries, but here is an explanation of the entry, descent, and landing sequences in animation.
So it's going from 21,000 kilometers an hour down to 0 in the space of 6 minutes.
Right, exactly. And for that, we use several stages of deceleration. Going to Mars is pretty complex. You know, we're arriving at that velocity. We have to brake in the first approach to Mach 2. This is the Vitesse velocity compatible with the deployment of our parachute. So during that part of the descent that lasts about 3 minutes, we're going to get a very high temperature on the heat shield.
And in terms of where we are now, we're about 2 minutes into the descent so far. So what exactly is happening on Mars right now, even though we can't see it?
Right now, we know that we have a dust-loaded atmosphere because that's the dust storm season.
So the dust storm?
Yeah, that's,
wow.
That is dust in this atmosphere, but we know that our heat shield is protecting us from that and is really facing a very high temperature. We're going to have up to 1750 degrees C on the surface of the front shield. So this aerodynamic braking is the first phase to slow down to 0.
And in terms of materials that you're using as well, material science is hugely important for space exploration.
Yeah.
What type of composites are you using on Schiaparelli, which is so significant?
Yeah.
Can you say Schiaparelli?
Schiaparelli,
there
yes,
we go,
yeah,
your pronunciation is better.
We're using some material very close to cork. Cork? Yeah, absolutely.
Like wine corks?
Yeah, exactly. That's a derivative of this material. It has very peculiar property. That is, it does not burn. It will char. Its main function is to slow down the wave of heat and prevent it to go through to the internal structures of the lander. So that's the real protection we have.
And what for you is most exciting about what's happening? We're now just under 3 minutes until Schiaparelli is potentially on the surface of Mars.
So now we have slowed down to a velocity that is closing to the deployment of the parachute, Mach 2.
So the parachute's about to be deployed.
It's about to be deployed. We will do that at an altitude, I think, about 10 kilometers. When we deploy this parachute, there will be a huge shock on the structure. We are going to have something pulling 7 to 8 tons on the structure. There we see on the animation this parachute. That's a 12-meter parachute dragging 27 meters behind the capsule.
And is there a limit in terms of weight? Is this something you're testing as well? Because obviously Mars's atmosphere is much thinner than Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. So here is a question of velocity, of diameter, and of weight of the capsule. So for this parachute, we have verified that we could deploy at such a high velocity and dynamic pressure. We've tested this in a wind tunnel and verified that the parachute will not break thanks to the material it uses. It uses Kevlar line and nylon as the fabric.
We're less than 2 minutes away to landing. What does it mean to you on a personal level to know that something you've been involved with is now about to land on the surface of Mars? That's happening right now on Mars.
I mean, that's a fantastic feeling because there are so many thousands of engineers that have been working on that, spending their private time working on this project. If it works, this is really wonderful. This is fantastic. And then, of course, we are learning a lot of the technology. We are going to do a lot of science with this landing. So really, for me, everything is in good shape now. Everything seems to happen well, and I hope I keep the fingers crossed such that we have a good landing, a soft landing.
Okay, so we're into the final minute now. We've got the video here. Obviously, this is just an animation of what should be happening on Mars right now with Schiaparelli. So the parachute's open. Can you just talk us through as we're heading into this final stage?
We have released the front shield because we don't need it for protection anymore. That opened the field of view for the radar antenna. At the center of the landed platform, we have the 4 radar antennas. We have also released the field of view for the thrusters. We have 9 of these thrusters, 400 Newton each. And also we have released the field of view for the camera. We have a little decent camera. Now we are at 1 kilometer of altitude, and we ignited our propulsion system.
We're 1 kilometer from the surface of Mars.
1 kilometer from the surface, and slowly going from a velocity of 200 kilometers an hour to 0. And we stopped there at 1.5 meters from the ground.
But in terms of, so we're nearly there. We're nearly on Mars.
We're there. Yeah.
Well, so we were 10 seconds. We should count down. We should all count down. 9, 8. Come
yeah,
on.
Actually,
7.
this is it. Now we have it, and cut the engine, and there we go.